Okay, this time for sure. So, hello, my name is Aniluna, and today I'm gonna explain my project. And my project is about New York City open data. So, I stumbled across just by looking at the popular data in New York City open data. I know it's really popular. I have worked with transportation data before, but not to good extent. I just seen it to make sure. Mm, but I was really interested in this data set because it talked about the rating system across New York City um, in the last three recent years. So I wanted to tackle on a project of rating systems and restaurants based on location. So for this data set, it has 3 years. So in the last 3 years, there's a rating system where restaurants get either appeal or reappeal, and that determines the grading system. Um, it's a kind of large data set, but not really. I think I'll say it's a medium size. So I started by just loading it using a query to just get the information from the Bronx because I wanted to make this project personal. And I guess what better way to put it as the Bronx location. So there's different. First checked the different data types, which was mostly objects and floating point numbers. Nothing too many interesting. The next thing I did is just check if there's any missing values depending on the column, which was um, there was a few, but nothing that I could potentially drop. I mean, most of them have 4 7s. The disappointing part was the gradient system, where 50% of the value was missing since there's only 1,000 files. And but I wanted to keep exploring, so I decided check what type of food the restaurant was serving. Then I decided to um, drop any missing values from these four elements that were, in my opinion, really important. So then the next thing I did was, since I wanted to keep a scoring system, I noticed that there was a guide right here of how the grading system worked that they haven't used in a while. So they haven't updated. So, but they did request it, so then I wanted to do my own. So I generated my own grading system based on the numbers. They kind of look accurate. So, and no, it's not 100% accurate, but I wanted to keep at least 90% or 80% of the data, since um, otherwise 50% of the data is missing. So, and for me, when I go to restaurants, I do notice of the grading system. So if it's an A, I would definitely go a B, probably a C, definitely not. So I think grading system is important to have and to keep. So the next thing was sample the data and check if everything looked good, and I think it did. So the next is asking questions of central tendency. So the first thing I did was find the mode, which is a 13. So that means most of the data had an A. And the thing I did was sorted, grouped by coincident description. So that depending on the type of food and depending on the type of food, if there's a mean, there's an average score, and I guess it's something that I might want to explore later on. Kind of shows the grading system based on the food. The next thing I did was find the median of the whole data set of the scoring system, which was a 20. So that made me think that this data set is slightly left skewed just because of the mode is bigger than the median and the mean. The next thing I did was find the standard deviation of each food, and then I try to calculate how far away it is from the standard deviation. So negative numbers represent that the food was better than the standard, and positive numbers represents that the grading system was overall worse than the average. The next thing I did was do a backplot of all the cuisine descriptions, but that kind of looked ugly, so I tried to think of a new thing to do. So I decided to only include those in the top 5 of the most common cuisine descriptions, and so then I was able to analyze a little bit better, and I kind of saw that pizza generally has a better grades, so that makes me think that it might be easier to open up a pizza place and having a maybe less products, more streamlined process. Maybe it makes me think that because it's a pizza place, there's many chains like fast food chains. The other thing is that Latin American studies overall had like a higher median which represents a higher grading system for overall. The next thing I did was do a pair plot, but there was nothing interesting. The only thing that was interesting was console district to the zip code, which kind of there's not really interested, since they're both are based on location and not really on anything that might be interesting. So I decided to do it on longitude. So to me, longitude represents east to west, and did a linear regression on based on the scoring system, and there was no correlation, no nothing. So yeah, so the next thing I want to see if yeah, so like I was saying, I wanted to see of all the total restaurants, how many have are a Mexican restaurant and have an A. So I added all the whole data and divided by just restaurants that have an A, and I got there was 2.4 for all the data set. How much are Mexicans that have an A, which was 2.4%. The next question I wanted to do is, what is the chance that I get a pizza restaurant with that has at least a B? So I did a quick addition of if it's a pizza place, then I'm just gonna add it to the total and find the total, which I'm just looking at the pizza restaurants. So for all the pizza restaurants, how many get an A? I mean a B, which was at 26.6%, which I thought was pretty high, because I did try it with an A, and then it was even higher, so it was a 51. So yeah. The next thing was probability of not eating a restaurant, a top 5 restaurant in the Bronx. So I did check, and it was about 50% chance that you eating in a restaurant that's not in the top 5 description. So it's not pizza, Latin American studies, Mexican, or Chinese food, and that's really high. So that means the top 5 type of restaurants are concentrated in 50% of the population. Okay, just to end it off really quickly, my conclusion was that it was a great project, looking at all of the different type of restaurants that we had in the Bronx. The most impressive thing that I found was that the pizza generally has a lower grading system, or a higher grading system, scoring system. So that means they have higher grades overall. So I think there was like 75% of the pizza places had A or B, which was compared to the other restaurants was higher and better. And I did see that the Latin American had overall higher grades, so it was a great exploration. The other thing that I wanted to do was explore making a prediction of the restaurant that I am, based on sampling 10 samples, and checking if the grading system and the type of food that's around them, and then you could determine the type of borough you are, because I assume that different boroughs have different types of food, and I just want to put that into the test. So in the future I really want to look into that. But yeah, overall this project was fun, and glad to be in this class.